Hello. Recently I got caught speeding. It's one of the hazards of driving, I guess, and what I'm about to do now is deliver to you a bunch of excuses, a whole load of sarcasm, distaste in the way that fines and prosecutions work, and then just admit that, there's nothing I can do about it, and I've just basically got to hold my hands out ready for a right good slapping that I deserve for being such a... I even had it on video whilst going up this very road, which is the road to Blackstone Edge. It is the A58, and this section of 30 mile per hour limit is known for having a mobile speed trap pretty much where that white van is there. You can even see the markings on the road, just about. And that catches people out coming around this corner in the 40 limit, still doing more than 30. It's kind of naughty, but it's very reliable for catching criminals. Yes! Anyone with a speeding ticket is a criminal. Including you, madam, Mrs. 35 miles per hour everywhere I go, even entering the motorway. But that is not where I got caught out. Just a little further up, we see now the 40 limit happens. And as you can see, this is a road where very little is happening. There may be a few houses nearby, but nothing else. And just up ahead there, where you can see some parked cars, stood a lady in the shadows. And I really do mean the shadows, because just here is a tree that in the brightness of daylight shadows all of the pavements. From this direction you can see not a great deal, and she had a high-vis jacket, nothing else. No van, no warning signs or anything like that, just simply a high-vis jacket which was only visible once I got to those trees just there. Guess what happened? That's right, I didn't spot her until it was too late, coming up this hill just a bit more than 40, and then I just saw this flash of high-vis and thought, oh dear. But then I thought, nah, that can't be real. Why would they be stood here? And why would there be no van? They're not supposed to be just hiding away in the shadows, catching people out deliberately and sneakily. So I presumed it was just one of the local community messing around, scaring people coming down here. And probably more likely to catch drivers out coming from this direction rather than this direction. At this moment, it probably sounds like I'm trying to build some great defense so I can get away with what effectively I am banged to rights with. I knew I was going a little bit over the limit, but it wasn't that much. And I didn't bother slowing down because I didn't think it'd be a real person there. Well, I mean, not a real authorised gunny person at least. And although I have done an awful lot of driving, I've always managed to retain myself a clean licence. When I say almost, I mean, I didn't originally have one. I soon made sure it got a bit grotty. But I was young, I was inexperienced. But that changed. For 27 years, I have managed to keep myself a clean licence, which tells you quite a lot about either how lucky I am or how careful I am. Well, you run out of luck eventually. If you're relying on being careful, someone's going to outsmart you at some point, and maybe that is what I have to report here. I would like to say that I've managed to keep my licence in such a condition for such a long time because I'm observant enough. Even whilst I'm recording, I'm spotting everything that's going on. Never known a motorbike do that kind of speed up this hill before. On my way to work, there is a little section of road called Wild House Lane, and this section of road is in between two 30s, and this is a 50. Part of my routine along that road is to do 30, and then when I get to the 50, do 50, so I can enjoy that little bit of exciting acceleration for a brief moment before I have to slow back down again to 30. But what always happens is this. I'll be behind someone who's a normal person, they'll go along there and they'll go further and further ahead of me, and suddenly they're way off in the distance in the 30. I get to the 50 part and then I put my foot down and I go to 50 and I catch them up doing 35. And then I get to the 30 part and I slow down and they're off again. And those are the majority of the people I see driving along that stretch of road. The majority of people that are all in favour for speed humps and mobile speed traps. I'm going to tell you, I am not in favour of these mobile speed trap gun thingies. And that it is my opinion, as it is with many people's, that it is just a revenue machine. And that's it, and it has nothing to do with road safety. And just in case I forgot to explain this when I was wearing a different t-shirt, I'm going to explain it now. In this area, and maybe yours as well, surrounded by people who get away with all sorts of really utterly horrendous driving, where they will just overtake with the oncoming traffic, where they will speed past schools even though they've no reason to be there. Generally speaking, people who do not drive to the conditions. Now, people who do drive to the conditions but aren't necessarily overly observant are the ones that get caught out by these cameras. Now, I drive to the conditions, but I also like to enjoy driving, and this guy's just pulled out in front of me without even bothering to look at all. So many disruptions to my video because of idiotic driving. These cameras tend to catch out people who do drive according to the conditions, because it's very easy to carry on doing 40 down a hill where it's been 40 and there's nothing around you. You can't see any danger in it, so it's not natural for you to think, oh, best be doing 30 here, except for that sign telling you so. And then, of course, you know, that is exactly the best place to be caught out doing it. What most of us really dislike, though, on our roads are these hooligans, the hooligans we've never had before. We've always had boy racers and people who will drive a little bit irresponsibly, but these days it's a special kind of nutcase that's on our roads. They do this kind of driving that relies on other people being safety conscious in order to get to the destination of which they decided they should be going to. Utterly horrendous examples of driving I have witnessed over the past few years, and it's getting worse and worse. And it's because of this why normal people assume that speed cameras and humps in the road will somehow rectify this problem of these people that drive like that, who are probably not in their own cars, who probably have cloned plates, or probably when they do get caught out, they just go, oh no, it was my mate who was driving. Who's your mate? Oh yeah, he's gone off out of the country. I could have just said, no, it wasn't me driving, and just, you know, they didn't stop me. So what proof have they got? Well, the thing is, it was me. It was me. You know, I am the perpetrator. I am the criminal in this particular investigation. When you have this get out of, well, you could possibly get away with it by just lying, you're less likely to be careful in the future. I can't pretend that my car's got something wrong with it. Whether that would wash or not, I don't know. I can't say that, well, I was desperate for a poo, because that probably wouldn't work either. And whatever the case, you go to court with this kind of thing, chances are they're just going to say, well, we've got the evidence of you here doing it. And if they got the evidence, then they're basically going to prosecute you, and that's really it. But because you've gone to court, you have to pay more for that, and now pay a bigger fine, and possibly end up with more points on your license as well. So really, what is the point? No excuse. Nobody deserves any sympathy. You've been caught. You are banged to rights. Now shut up. Don't tell us anything about it, because it's your fault, and we're glad you've been caught doing it. That's what you're thinking. That's what you would think, unless it was you. On Facebook, there's a group called Discuss Littleborough, which is a forum for people to get together, twitch curtains, complain, bully, everything really, and then try and flog you something. And I'm sure that wherever you are, there'll be a similar group to it. One thing that comes up all of the time, which is bound to be the same on your kind of route as well, is speed. Is a notification, is a warning of a speed camera, sometimes done it quite subtly with a picture of something making an observation. There just happens to be a mobile van in the background, which then means that nobody can really complain, but they do, because you'll get the same thing over and over again. You'll have many people who'll just say, don't speed then, and then others that are happy to take this warning because they know what these cameras are all about. They're not about safety like they claim to be, because if they were, they would put them in areas where people are at danger, not where they're not actually at danger at all, but people do tend to be going over the speed limit a little bit there because it's just a bit easy to do so. But I have to admit, there are times when I will enjoy a little bit of energetic driving, and I do it safely. And I do it going uphill rather than downhill. And I'll do it somewhere where there aren't people knocking about, children, animals, horses, other road users if preferable. And that's why it took this kind of situation for me to get caught out. Because I think the most important speed limit to actually stick to is actually 30. Not even 20, because 20 is kind of under really what you need to be going, and the 20 mile per hour limit is there because people always do 40 to 30, and what they really want you to do is maybe stay a bit under 30. But 30, because you really are banged to rights if something goes wrong on a road where there are people all around you and somebody steps out and you happen to hit them because you can't stop in time, or because you were going a bit faster than 30. It doesn't matter whether it's somebody else's fault or not. You're the one there doing the crime. You just simply have to come to the conclusion that what other people get away with is irrelevant. It's like telling the police you should be doing something more useful. As easy as it is to be annoyed at somebody else for something that you've got found out for, it's pointless. It's really, really pointless. The injustice is going to be that you can get done for doing something that's really very minor, whereas I think the speed awareness course is a good idea. You could take the cynical approach and just say it's another money grabbing, it's just another money grabbing initiative. But here's a but. Amongst the people who do get caught for speeding there's a section of people that I do see speeding quite a bit, but they do it in a rather innocent way. And that's usually ladies with children in the car. I see that so often. They don't really appear to be paying any attention to what they're doing. I'm not being a misogynist, it's just an observation. I've seen it so often. They're the kind of people that would benefit from it. What about me? No, I think I would be a real pain in the arse because I already know all this. Because I would just have to sit and just, yep, nod. I know. I've been caught, not because I don't understand the dangers of speed, but because I got caught by something that was inappropriately placed, somewhere where it doesn't matter. That's the difference between it being somewhere it does matter and you really should have been going slower at that point. And I might end up being just a little bit argumentative. But I think people get caught for these kind of speeding violations because generally they're not really paying enough attention to what's going on around them. And that's the idea of the speed awareness course. But it's also can be a bit deeply unfair because you don't have to go much over the limit to find yourself with endorsements and a fine. Well, let me tell you, mine wasn't on the 30, it was on the 40. I got caught out because that's the last place I would expect anyone to be standing with a speed gun, and because there was no warning, and because she was under a tree in the shadows. I was just testing this Volvo out because I'd just done the brakes and it was driving with a bit more vigour, and I was enjoying it. I was going up the hill, and it was on a perfectly safe bit of road to go a bit faster than what is actually on the limit. And I got clocked at 54 in the 40, which is a bit more than just 45, 46, 47. Now, I'm kind of lucky because that just falls just below the next category of doing a bit too much. Well, there is, you're doing a bit more than you're allowed to do. I think you're being a bit too much. And then there's the next section, which is you're taking the piss now. Give us your license. 40 to 53, you can have a speed awareness. After that, you can't. There's no chance. So you've got to pay a fine. So I had to just plead guilty to it because I was guilty. It was me that did it. And then await for the results. And the result was not as bad as I was expecting, to be honest. In fact, I was very relieved. I've never had a letter through the door with £100 fine and thought, phew. But that's all it was, £100 fine, which I could have done without having to pay, and 3 points. 3 points isn't really going to make any difference to my license, and in all honesty, I was expecting it to be worse. I did the absolute worst thing I could have done to get 3 points. 1 mile per hour after that, and I would have been into a different territory. There's segments of speed. How can it really make that much difference? Well, I'm grateful. I am grateful. I'm grateful that I wasn't properly hooning it, because this car would have easily gone a lot faster than that in a very short space of time. All I did was just simply got into the 40 and just put my foot down just for a minute. You're never going to have a mobile speed camera on this patch of road here, because it is a 60 limit. Even though it has fields, trees, houses, cars parked up either side, it's still a 60 limit. Long live the national speed limit roads like this, where you can do 60 and it feels like you're making some real progress. The opportunity to relieve yourself of the urge to go quite quickly and still need some steering input, and to be looking ahead of you. One day they'll change it all though, and this will just be a 40 limit, and that will be on the request of somebody that happens to have done something stupid. And now I need to be more aware again that as you go from one speed to another, as you go from one speed limit to another, somebody will be waiting there just trying to catch you out. Not for road safety purposes, but for that. That's exactly why our roads, the country throughout, are crap, are covered with potholes everywhere and are dangerous. Yet at the same time, local councils will come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes to have new crossings and things in place just to spend money, rather than fixing the existing roads that we have. I'm now back to the same level of paranoia on the roads that I was when I was 27. The last time I gained myself some points. Stupid, young and inexperienced. I got points on my license within 2 weeks of getting it. And then I got another 3 points on it about a year later. And then finally, I got caught speeding again on a 30 limit, up to 9 points, and I really realised at that point I've got to start paying a bit more attention. I've got to calm down. I've got to stop showing off. And I managed it. Up until a couple of weeks back. I'm not moaning. I'm just trying to say, regardless of whether you see other people taking a whole mile to themselves, don't dare take an inch, because they'll get you for it. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for being a subscriber and a channel member, and anyone who likes to comment or like the video. Bye bye.